Have you tried Legion Arenas yet? They're actually a ton of fun. I'm currently enjoying them right now, and I think it's probably the best time I've had in a long while playing World of Warcraft Arenas. The last Arenas were Warlords General, and while that was fun more with friends than anything, with me and Tirga mostly doing 2s and 3s, not really playing like with a mage or a Thuckly for a variation of different comps, really just playing with friends and, you know, treating the game, I guess, fairly casually. Coming into Legion, you have a lot more, I guess, to try, a lot new things, because the game is different, the classes and the way they play are different, the meta is different, and it's all new and exciting, and I enjoy the shit out of it. Currently, I think Legion is probably one of my most favorite expansions when it comes to PvP. It definitely isn't the best expansion when it comes to PvP because we do have to take into account BC and Wrath, but I never played those expansions. So for me, this is probably as close as it'll get, and I guess some of you will just have to live with the fact that I will never experience some of the best days of WoW, but I don't know what those days are, so for me it doesn't make that much of a difference. Anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about Legion Arenas and currently why I'm having so much fun with them, and some of the things that I think, you know, are what makes them fun. And if you haven't tried Legion Arenas, I think you should. If you never really tried Arenas at any moment, I think Legion Arenas are an interesting combination that I've never seen. So I'll talk a little bit about the arena styles that I've seen in the past. I'll talk a little bit about an Outlaw Rogue, and maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying arenas so much is because of the Outlaw Rogue and how the spec is played. Maybe a little bit about how the Legion arenas currently feel in the meta and basically what comps you can run and whatnot. So in the past, I've played three expansions. I played a little bit of Kata, and I basically had zero experience of PvP in Kata. I played a Boomkin, and I tried to play as a Arrested Druid, and Arrested Druids weren't viable, so you can see that I'm just full of bad decisions. I was Arrested Druid in Kata, then decided to do Rogue in Pandaria, and out of all specs of combat, like, what are you doing, Dalaran? But I would say that Pandaria and Warlords were the 2 seasons that I did actually do some real arenas. Closer to the end of Pandaria is when I really opened up and kind of got out of the shell and got 2K playing combat. Oh, that was so much fun. And then in Warlords, it was kind of like a regular thing getting 2K as a combat rogue, although nothing impressive, to be honest, when you look at it back in retrospect. Anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about the arenas back then. I felt like Pandaria arenas were really CC heavy, like there was capability for straight up Mongo cleaves, especially early in the season, but close to the end of the season it became really a lineup battle. It's all about getting your lineups for the most part, and that's literally why I was able to get as high of a rating as I could as a combat rogue back in Mob, because we literally just lined up. I played with a Shadow Priest, we would line up with Tricks for the rest of the time. I would just peel for him. I would just go re-stealth and peel, re-stealth and peel, and that's literally what we did, is lineups until we win and force trinkets out of enemies. Warlords General came around, and you could go a little bit more Mongo at the beginning of the season, but in the end, it did become all about lineups. For example, you could play every single comp without having voice comps, and you could play RMD with the idea that, hey, as long as I throw in a obligatory blind once in a while, and as long as I use my kidney almost on cooldown and line up damage with a Frost Mage, you don't literally need to communicate with one another. Like, for example, Naj, one of the higher rated players from Warlord General, I'm pretty sure going to be higher rated by the end of Legion season. He literally would make streams and where he would just explain exactly what is going on in the game, playing at gladiator level, like 2700, 2900 rating games. No Skype call, no communication, because it was already pre-established what you're supposed to do as a comp, so you literally didn't need communication. It was just a game of follow the pathing, follow the timers, rinse and repeat. It was nothing interesting. It was like raiding, more or less, because you already have predetermined timers of where you should be in the game. Legion kind of takes the predetermined timers and flips them on their head with the fact that you can really push the game and the speed of the game and the pace of the game depending on what comps you're playing and what classes you're playing. With all the changes that Blizzard has made to PvP, with healers not being too overpowered where they can handle 2 melee sitting on them, with the idea that DPS, personal defensive cooldowns, are a little bit more important, and line up your damage and burst is burst, of course, is much higher, I feel like, in Legion than it was in past expansions, where you can literally destroy a character in a single stun lock when you have 2 melee wailing on a healer or wailing on a caster and that are cooldowns. I feel like with all these, I guess, elements being present, like the fast burst, the slow game, the CC lineups, inability to tank to melee, kind of the variations of different trinkets we have, it can literally change the gameplay altogether. And whether it's fast or slow, it does allow for, I guess, variation. So every game could be different. Whether you're playing a melee cleave or whether you're playing a caster cleave, the speed of the games are varied. It's not always going to be same scripted event, at least not for a while until we figure out how things work. It is just a clusterfuck right now, more or less, for somebody who is inexperienced. And I kind of like it. I kind of like how everything is a bit unpredictable and the damage is so high you can literally be losing, and then all of a sudden you pop your burst on a healer that doesn't have a trinket and done, they are over with. And as an Outlaw rogue you do have the capability for that burst. So this is why I was talking earlier that maybe it is my spec that I'm currently enjoying in arenas, but it could be just the game itself. Another thing that I did want to talk about, I guess, is the spec as a segue. The spec of Outlaw Rogue is very versatile, and maybe that's what is causing me to enjoy arenas so tremendously. Mainly for the idea that Outlaw Rogues can take multiple different roles. You have decent amount of sustained damage, you have this roll the bones mechanic that kind of holds you back in certain areas, and I don't mean hold you back in like a bad way, just like makes you inviable, but holds back your burst and holds back you from unleashing your true potential kind of deal. So basically just almost anchors you down a little bit, slows you down a bit. Again, not in a bad way or anything. With Outlaw Rogue being so versatile, with the roll the bones mechanic, the CC that you have, the range of the CC, the mobility abilities that you have, the cooldowns that you're able to get, the roll the bones, I guess, buffs that you are able to get for yourself, and how you can combine that with other classes in arenas, be it the Hunter, or maybe with the Warlock, or maybe with the Red Paladin. It just gives you so much versatility for the spec that you are playing, making Outlaw Rogue probably one of the most unique specs that I've ever seen in a game. And like for example, I can give you this. As an Outlaw Rogue, you can be very, very bursty and just train down a singular target the whole game and just make their life miserable. And you can do that together with another player, probably a melee or maybe even a hunter, in order to be able to simply train down a healer, force all their defensives early, wait until they bubble or until they use big cooldowns, and then train them again, rinse and repeat style. Or you can play it with somebody who has a lot of damage, but then you take the role of a CC player. So instead of being fully damaged as rogues and combat rogues have been in the past, you can literally take the role of somebody who performs the cross CC. Like for example, as an Outlaw Rogue, if you're running with a Death Knight or a Red Paladin, you have a decent amount of CC where you can stun an enemy and then blind them right afterwards, and then follow that up with a sap. And with the fact that you have cooldown reduction, you can get those cooldowns much quicker. So it's like you get to play more than one role. And I'm just saying this hypothetically. I haven't really seen Outlaw Rogues playing in that manner in the past, unless it is to shut down some massive DPS from a character, which does seem a little bit annoying when you take a look at it. Like, wow, he literally shuts down everything that person is trying to do, and is just kind of crazy to take a look at. So it could be that the game is new and the pacing is weird and the comps are weird, and it can go either both ways, you know, whether it's slow, whether it's fast, whether it's all about lineups or a Mongo burst. The game could be all about the Outlaw Rogue being, you know, so much fun for me as well. But honestly, I think it's a combination of just what Legions bring into the table. Not only are we receiving new abilities via honor talents that we can test, we also have just complete redos to certain specs and classes altogether, and the way that they're played. You have all these different alterations, like for example, you have Marksman Hunter, Beastmaster Hunter, and then you have Survival Hunter. Survival having the most CC in the game, but a melee damage, so it gives you a lot more, I guess, combinations and comps to play with, and a lot more variety of like how you want to play and how you want to pursue the victory. You also have the Demon Hunter class, which is entered in the game and is kind of like a lot like a monk in a way. Makes me think of a Windwalker monk from Walking Dead or Warlords Jenner, but with a little bit more defensives and very interesting mobility mechanics. I think probably the most mobile DPS in the game currently, with some interesting alterations for some of the CC that you're able to put out. We have some different changes, like Holy Paladins not really going from shotguns, but becoming almost like a melee combatant as well, where they can get in the damage and help out a TSG wreck targets left and right. We have rogues taking on multiple roles, from assassination taking on simply a pressure damage. We have subtlety with the mobility and CC, and then we have Outlaw with a plethora of crowd control abilities that it provides, as well as the burst. And there's also so many other classes that simply haven't been mentioned, from mages to warlocks, shadow priests, druids. But one thing that I didn't mention so far in this big discussion video that I'm putting out this morning is maybe World of Warcraft PvP is currently fun. And the question of whether it's fun or not is simply objective, as some people will enjoy the remnants of the old version or older iterations of games, while other people enjoy the newer iterations. And currently I would say Legion is a lot of fun for me in general. There's not only a lot to do, but every time you are doing anything, whether it's queuing for arenas or BGs, I'm having a lot of fun, and it's basically one of these things that I really want to do while I'm sitting in class just taking notes, and the whole time I'm thinking I really want to go home and play some Legion. But let me know what you guys think about the Warcraft PvP. I guess I made this video about the arenas, but it kind of does segue towards the PvP in general. What are your thoughts? Do you enjoy WoW arenas? Do you enjoy WoW PvP for Legion in general? I would love to hear your thoughts on that, guys. Until then, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I would love to hear some of you guys' responses. I am glad that so many of you are participating in all these response-based questions, and it makes me very happy to be able to respond with you guys and get some of your thoughts out there. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you guys have a good day.